Alrighty, just read the People News one more time at it. Educational purpose only. Why? Because I'm not an attorney. That's why. Alright? Never look straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Arm yourself with knowledge and think outside the box. Now, uh, same thing. Power inherited in the people. This is another section. Like I said, I was going to do different sections because the video was so long. But if you want to get the full story and the full concept of what he's speaking of, uh, try to find it on his YouTube channel. If you cannot find it, put it in comments, and I'll see about doing some extensions on this, okay? But there's going to be many more videos to kind of keep it short. All right, let's go.
Pleasant to the guy. He went back, got a citation, came back up. He goes, "Hey, this is
with the ticket.
Citation. You got to pay it within 10 days, or you have to set a court date." He goes, "You just have to have a registration." I went, "Oh, really? Okay. Well, you have a nice day, and we're gonna go visit our daughter." And that was it. We just kind of we were done because I don't want controversy. He created controversy. I'm not going to escalate controversy. That's the last thing I'm going to do. Right. But he's already created trespass the moment he came up behind us, even though we were already parked. He came up behind us. So the detainment.
Okay, and notice what he said, trespass. Everything in common law is a form of trust. It's always trespass. It's domestic abuse, it's bear trade, and all kinds of these other little names. So do your research and clearly understand how to use these man talk, all right, men and women talk, okay? But anytime, it's always them trespassing, okay? I've talked about it 1,000 times, that the Constitution is a do not trespass upon the men and women's rights. But even with that Constitution there, right, they're not even allowed by their own statutes to trespass. Right? There's got to be certain ways of process to be able to convict you in court. Right now, it's a conveyor belt because of our lack of knowledge, all right, our education. We don't know how to stand properly. And we bank on these bar members that's in conflict of interest with the judge because the judge is a bar member. Conflict of interest. Can you guys say conflict of interest? Congress. Most of Congress is bar members. Conflict of interest against the people. Everything is conflict of interest. Soon as you are in court or in writing by their fictitious world, everything is conflict of interest. Even your attorney arguing on your behalf with a prosecutor is conflict of interest. Because that judge sitting there is conflict of interest. Because that officer sitting there, conflict of interest. Everybody's getting bonds and payment from you, and they're all in a group against you. Now, you can allegedly say that you get paid this, that, here, and there, but that's because they created these things that made us ignorant, right, of the law. The true law of the land is common law. It's not the Constitution. Don't let people... Now, understand this. The law of the land for the government body is the Constitution. But the law of the land for us men and women, or even maybe the people, is the common law.
Versus custodial arrest was in question only from the standpoint we had parked already, and then he pulled up behind us. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I didn't have the benefit of like the one yesterday where they pulled me over because I was already parked going to go somewhere. Right. But instead, I went after the exact information, and I am now giving them notice that they must rebut right away. So right. This was sent in like 2 days.
Okay.
So in regard to the paper with the sign, traffic citation. With
Zoom it in. Zoom it in, Kevin.
Bet. All right. Let me see here. Let me know.
My boy said bet. Kevin's so cool. Y'all hear that? My boy said bet. Kevin cool. Damn.
So,
This is going to be the very important part, because while you're doing this, you're actually writing as a man and woman. And you're trying to stay out of their fictitious jurisdiction.
also notice up on the top right is the reference address, care of Postal Service, without USDC, and it is on the right. We are on the right hand of the creator. Always put your shit on the right.
On the right. I need to fix the overleaf version to host it like that.
Do not put your...
Now, to give you notice, okay, see how these things are in the red? Now, when I did these things in the red, when they made copies, it was in the black. They said they can't do it in color. Now, with technology, they should be able to do in color, because it does have its own jurisdiction. Purple has its own jurisdiction. So them just saying it only could be in black. So I may, right, put this right here, or the little kind of sign saying red, right here from red, right here, red. And you may want to put red ink to be real clear about it. Red ink, red ink. So when you put it in there, even though it's all black, okay, it distinguishes itself that the writing itself here is in red.
Autograph stuff and or your reference mailing information on the left. You are at the right hand of the creator. You are in charge.
Oh, watch out.
So anyway, so then you also notice you're actually right. I'll just start at the beginning.
And that's another thing. I did a video on it, right? You must spell out city. You must spell out state. No abbreviations whatsoever. Okay? You got to spell out the whole thing. Okay? That keeps it in the right post office jurisdiction for the man to operate in. And it also costs a couple of pennies instead of dollars. Okay? So, just notice on that.
So to the man, whatever their name is, who sometimes or at times acts as magisterial district judge. So notice I'm putting it right to the judge. Yeah. I'm calling out, and it's actually a woman. But anyway, in this particular case, but yeah. And then care of, so it's just a place to send it based on their information. They say, yeah, I'll get stuff here. That's where you send it, but you always do care of. Okay. So, and the reason being is you're not admitting to any jurisdiction. All these little details are steps to not admit to their jurisdiction.
The four corners.
Okay. All right, and notice also the zip code. I have it always in brackets. So in this case, the brackets stay. I probably should have put double brackets there. The other ones you remove the brackets, but for the zip code, zip exempt but near zip, and you can put that in, but you keep it in brackets. Now, one of the things that some of the others do is they put a CF in the front and the back, constructed fraud, but I don't bother with that. When you put something in brackets, it is a reference. Okay. So, again, another jurisdictional item. Four corners rule. Yep, four corners rule. Bingo. And that's why whenever you are doing paperwork right now, when you're doing the blocks with the lines, four corners rule, you're talking about 20 different things at the same time. What are you really talking about? So their court documents are set up that way on purpose. I don't use that. Okay. So anyway, so in regard to the paper with the sign, traffic citation, in response to your communication, which you did state, operated vehicle with registration expired, and then it's either a man or a woman, upper and lowercase name. Now what I do is I do my first name dash middle name, and then colon, and my family name, because it distinguishes it. And this is an important thing relative to punctuation. If you notice in this notice, see how every paragraph and every sentence ends with a semicolon.
Yeah.
Because it's a continuous thought. You haven't ended the discussion yet.
Okay.
So, all right. So I ask, are you looking for the man or woman known as upper lowercase name who does own property that is in an automobile design? As I understand it, you are looking for the entity, the all caps name, in all capital letters on this paperwork, and the entity owner and the entity defendant on this paperwork. As I understand it, you are also referencing a vehicle. I ask, now this is where they must rebut. I am asking them something to rebut. I ask, are you looking for the man or woman known as, with the upper lowercase name, first and foremost? I state all sovereign birthrights are expressly claimed and retained by I. I am always the lowercase I, just like Mitchell was talking about.
Yeah.
I state, now
Educational. Lowercase I has got the head and then the body. Okay. The one that's got the cross in there is decapitation. Okay. The dead. I don't make these things up, y'all. They do.
state is a fact. This is evidence. I state, I send the compliments of I in response to the sign attached and returned to the magisterial district. So you're being polite, without, however, mistaking any aspect of this communication as an offer of contract, acceptance of contract, representation, commercial correspondence, any acceptance of legal representation, or action in rem.
Right.
See statement of facts below. So I'm already clearing up jurisdiction right here, and they would have to rebut it, but I'm making it. I'm making it a statement because it's a fact. I'm a man, so I've already said that. So it's none of these things.
Right.
Remember, he said it's a fact, right? But you need to make sure it's true. Okay. I think he accidentally messed it up by creature of habit. But remember, it's true by his understanding.
So you're already setting the rules right out of the gate.
Okay.
So you're not waiting until court. You're not waiting to rebut anything else. He just gave me a citation, which, by the way, is securities fraud because he just created a security beside you, and then they're going to ask him to testify as to what happened, and he can't be a witness and also create a bonded security all at the same time. That's
Listen to that point right there, because it is a bond, right? They're issuing you some form of demand for alleged money, right? So he's created a bond on you. And now, what? Conflict of interest. What I just said, conflict of interest.
securities fraud.
Now, how I've always been hitting this too, and how I have been, is the affidavit aspect right off the front too. So
This is the important part right here as well to take note.
you're just taking it on a different approach by hitting it with the more all caps, this fictional being corporate side, while I'm over here hitting it on the other side, being creator endowed rights, and this is already established as I'm free and a living being in a sense. So it's kind of similar, but you're going with notice, I'm going with affidavit.
Right. Well, so affidavit.
It's almost like we can. It's almost, yeah, true, but it's almost like we're blending that too as well. You see what I'm saying?
So I'm pulling it all in together in one. So I'm requiring it would, for them, it would be an affidavit of rebuttal. A man does an affirmation. A man says what is true.
Affirmation. That is true. Okay. And do not put under penalty of perjury, right? Because that's a bondage, right? And that'll get you in trouble. So another hard knock on the head right there.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
They have truth, which is subjective, depending on how you.
By the way, it's also an oath, and the book, the good book, right, says to never take an oath, that it puts you in bondage, right? And the founding fathers says take the oath of office, right? Well, the reason why is because they're bound, they're handcuffed to the Constitution, Allegedly. Okay?
You're phrasing the term. If you're talking about somebody else's truth, then it's subjective because you don't know what their truth is, what is true. For you, it is always what is true. It is not truth because truth is subjective.
Right.
So you do.
Yeah, truth is, like you said, it's subjective. It's an, I call it absolute vague and ambiguous. Absolutely, right? You want to nail it down. And this is what the hard part is in the common law jurisdiction, right? You got to nitpick at every single word. Okay?
Affirmations, statutory things do affidavits.
Right. Okay. I like it.
So I send the compliments of I, and I made that clear. Then I state the court may, of course, appoint their attorney to represent the fictitious defendant.
All right, I'm running out of time here, but if you guys can read that, let's proceed forward a little bit more. If you guys can read that, I'll pause it right there a little bit, right? Come on, you freaking
In the
idiot.
Carabai harm, is there?
Okay, pause right there. If you can, get the DUNS number from your city, your state, and all that to verify it's a corporation. Okay.
Correlate or are the same. Move forward.
Yep.
There you go. Pause that right there so that you can get a quick look. Remember, it's all in the writing, and it's all how you talk, speak, write. Okay, you're in law, of law, or at law, but which jurisdiction are you actually in? Okay, these are We the People News. Till next time, bye y'all.